Hi there. Hi. In my last IWO video, Why Study Literature, I explored how the vast landscape of literature can serve as a site of archaeological research. If a collective unconscious truly exists, it should manifest in the stories we share about ourselves. Drawing on Carl Jung's theories, which propose that a collective unconscious is a repository of shared memories and archetypes, I illustrated how literature functions as a conduit for these archetypes. By studying literature, we can identify the universal patterns that shape human behavior. Moreover, I hypothesized a Big Bang moment in human cultural development, coinciding with our pre-human ancestors beginning to coexist with wolves when they formed a cross-species tribal pack. Just as astronomers infer the universe's Big Bang origin by examining the ever-expanding elements from a singular beginning, literary theorists might postulate a point of human cultural origin by analyzing the diffuse and entropic material of literature. Language stands as the oldest and most advanced human technology, with storytelling being the key to understanding our essence and identity. In effect, language is the program in the machinery of our mind, and story is its operating system. For example, science itself can be viewed as a kind of genre, and evolution can be seen as a story of origin told within a linear time-space frame, one with a clear beginning, middle, and end. Human evolution is a story that begins with a prehistoric ape. The middle of the story is historical man. And while the ending of the story lacks closure, it does evoke the future existence of a Superman that would be beyond historic man in some way. Devils, man, and angels would be the biblical version of the same story. In the 1930s, just as the evolution story was rising as the new authoritative story that would replace the old biblical story of origin, two pop culture characters appeared on the stage, enabling present-day historical man to act out his relationship to his past self and future self. One character that moved into the public psyche was Tarzan of the Apes. The other was Superman, the comic book character who came to Earth as an alien baby from another planet very similar to Earth. The main difference being it was a planet more evolved than Earth. In a similar way, the Tarzan character also represents an evolved individual brought up in a more primitive state. In one case, it is a story of our evolved self relating to our past ape selves. In the other case, it is a future, more technologically evolved self relating with our present selves. In the Tarzan story, the location of Africa represents an evolutionary past in which the white baby from civilized England finds himself in. As a baby, he is adopted and raised by apes. In contrast, the futuristic super baby lands in America and is brought up by a middle-class American family. Superman is futuristic Cyberman, in which technological advancements, such as X-ray vision, is incorporated directly into the body. 150 years ago, the evolution story was a hotly contested scientific discourse. Its comprehension was beyond many, even within the elite of society. Within a generation or two of its authorship, it became a story so simple there were characters available to children that enabled them to understand the concepts and issues surrounding evolution. This is the power of story. Before we were human, we did not tell stories. At some point after we became human, and after we as a species became a hunting animal, we began to narrate. It is possible to imagine a first story told. And if all stories in one way or another are about us in the past, the first story would be about our human beginnings. It would be an archetypal story upon which all others were eventually constructed. This archetypal story, reflecting our first culture, would be carried consciously and unconsciously by generations through time and space, so that the most recent of stories told could be as good as any place to search for its vestiges. Human storytelling is much older than writing, and may have developed relatively soon after, or even in connection with, the development of language. Once you are using words to explain how to make an axe out of a stone, it becomes a story of a stone becoming an axe. Writing is a very recent invention in the evolution of man, and this means that in the broad scale of human evolution, that all writing, no matter how old, such as the Epic of Gilgamesh and the Bible, exists at the very end of the scale of human development. Writing developed long after the invention of agriculture, and agriculture is only a few thousand years old, and we are dealing in millions of years when talking about the species Homo sapiens and its origins. This means that all writing represents only a very recent sample of human storytelling, and that elements of the archetypal story of origin, for all intents and purposes, will be as present in a story pressed into an ancient clay tablet as it will be flashing on the screen of a recent cyber text. Even if we knew the stories associated with the prehistoric paintings left by hunters on the walls of caves, we would still not have the archetypal story, but only a group of stories that might contain elements of the original story all others grew from. But if astronomy can postulate the Big Bang origin of the universe by studying the ever-spreading elements of a point of beginning, moving ever more dispersed through time-space, perhaps literary theorists, by examining the diffuse entropic material of literature, can postulate a point of human cultural origin. The missing cultural link has long been sought after by archaeologists and has remained hidden because the first man or woman of a human culture and language will not show up in bones. But if, according to Carl Jung, the mind of the past is alive in the stories we tell today, story is a much better place to look for this missing cultural link between ape and human than grave sites. The bones of the first human are long dead and buried. Even if the physical remains of the first cultural human are dug up, these bones will remain dead and will only become alive again when they are turned into a story. Language is the oldest and most advanced of all human technologies. Story is the key to understanding who and what we are. How many stories did you experience in the last week? Is there an ancient hidden pattern in their plot structure? The next time you watch a movie or read a book, remember to keep an eye out for a canine reference or appearance, and then tell me about it in the comments below. Does it happen around the same time the status of a central character is about to change? This pattern might not be in every book and movie, but you might be surprised at how often it does show up once you start to watch for it. Join the carnivoresque hunt for the archetypal evidence of our I-wolf culture of origin hidden in the stories we tell about ourselves. Let this channel become where you can document random canine references that may in fact not be so random after all. In my next iWolf video, I will address the question, what is a literary theory? In contrast to postmodern literary theory, I will suggest the purpose of a theory is to provide a tool to connect information together, bringing clarity and focus instead of the fragmentation and confusion of a self-aggrandizing academic elite. So if you want to be part of the pack, hunting down our story of origin, remember to like this video, subscribe, make a comment below, and hit that virtual bell with your metaphoric cursor spear as we keep tracking and hunting for the signs that are hidden in the stories we tell about ourselves.